In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the exact foods that I ate that helped me build muscle and helped me gain weight when I was very skinny. Now, before I dive deep into literally the exact foods and like the type of foods I was eating and how many calories it is, I'm going to tell you a quick story because it's very important that you understand this concept first. When I was 16 years old, I wanted to get into the gym and just overall build a better body because I wanted to look more attractive. But I was a very skinny kid. I weighed 115 pounds. I was 5'7". And it was honestly a little bit hard for me to gain weight too. So when I had a coach in high school, he basically told me that you have to eat as much food as possible and you have to focus on that scale going up, okay? I didn't know anything about fitness. I didn't know anything about nutrition, so I listened to him. So basically what I did is I would eat everything that I saw. I ate big bowls of pasta, I ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I ate just eggs, oats, I ate everything, right? Now let me tell you this, it worked. The scale did go up. However, when I looked in the mirror a few months later, I got fat. I didn't like the way I looked. I looked more like I had this like bulky power lifter look. And when I wanted to have a muscular body, I envisioned like being lean, like abs, just overall looking really fucking good. But again, it made me look worse. Now, at that point, I could have given up. I could have just said, fuck this is way too difficult. But I realized early on that the more mistakes that I make, the easier it is for me to learn. And I'll basically bounce back from every mistake that I would make. That was basically what I was thinking. So after I kept going and basically researching about nutrition, researching about fitness, I came to the conclusion that there is a sweet spot when it comes to gaining weight. And it's not what people think it is, okay? When us skinny guys, when you're bulking up and you're trying to build muscle, you don't have to gain as much fucking weight as you think you do. So once I finally realized that and I started gaining the perfect amount of weight, like the sweet spot, and eating the right types of food, that's when I actually got the body that I wanted. So there's a belief that you need to kind of erase from your mind, okay? The point of the story. You don't have to eat as much fucking food as you think you do, because if you're actually skinny, if you weigh 120, 130, 140 pounds, you don't have to eat like 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 calories. That is bullshit, and you just have to erase that from your mind. Now, you also may be thinking that maybe you already are eating a ton of food and you see that scale isn't going up. Okay, that's what I thought too at one point, but let me tell you this, you are most likely overestimating how much food you're actually eating. And there's one way you can find out if you're doing this right, okay? So one thing that helped me the most is you have to get a food scale, okay? If you're serious about gaining weight, if you're serious about actually building muscle and looking lean, buy a food scale, because when you know how much food you're actually eating, then you can actually track it, okay? So the key thing before I could talk to you about literally the exact foods that I was eating, there's a sweet spot for you to gain weight, okay? And that's gonna be about 1/2 pound per week. Any more than that is just gonna be fat. And we don't wanna do that because we wanna look our best. So 1/2 pound per week is gonna be a sweet spot. And the thing is, you don't have to eat as much as you think you do. If you're working out 3, 4, or 5 days a week and you weigh around like 120, 130, 140, or 150 pounds and you're like a skinny guy, you're probably gonna only eat like 2,000, 2,300, 2,500, maximum like 2,800 calories. That is all, okay? So that is what the point of this video is gonna be. And for me, the goal was basically to eat 2,500 calories back in the day. And these are the foods that I would generally eat that helped me gain the weight that I want and helped me build about the most amount of muscle. So let's dive deep first. And then again, this is my experience. This is what I was eating. You can adjust this however you like, okay? Because your lifestyle might be a lot more different than mine, okay? For instance, my breakfast, I ate a lot of food for breakfast. If you're not a breakfast person, then maybe don't include as much food in your breakfast and include more food during your lunch, okay? And for you to know how many calories you have to eat, if you work out, let's say 3 days per week, multiply your body weight by 16. And if you work out about 4 to 5 days per week, multiply your body weight by 17 to 18. That amount, the number that you get, that is probably gonna be the total amount of calories you're gonna try. And you're gonna note, and you're going to track it based on how much weight you're actually gaining every single day and every single week, okay? So once you know how many calories you have to eat, this is what I want you to do. So this whole thing is gonna be 24 to 2,500 calories, all right? So for breakfast, I like to start off my meals with a lot of protein first, okay? So I think my favorite foods, I ate 2 eggs, and 184 grams of liquid egg whites. Remember this, get a food scale. It'll make tracking so much easier, and you'll know how much food you're eating. Because again, if you think you're eating a lot of food and you're not seeing that scale go up, you're probably not eating as much as you think you are, okay? And every food that I'm gonna show you here, it's not really a lot of food. It's not like a whole fucking like batch of meals, okay? It's not that much when you look at it. And again, I didn't like eating that much back in the day, so this is what helped me the most. So you're gonna do 2 eggs, 184 grams of egg whites, and the key thing here, I don't see many people eat, is protein oats. Protein oats is really fucking good. I think it's better than normal carbs or normal oatmeal. And the brand that I use is called Bob Mills Protein Oats, okay? 1 banana, and then you're gonna do half a cup of blueberries. And I drink coffee too, so I add a coffee creamer, 50 milliliters of that. If you don't wanna include that, don't do it. Honey, 21 grams, and then 2 cups of almond milk. Basically, I eat a bunch of eggs, and I mix the oatmeal, the banana, the blueberries, the honey together, and I just add like almond milk or whatever milk you prefer, and that's like a cereal for me, okay? This is my biggest meal of the day. I eat this generally before I go work out as well. So that's why I eat like this much food. However, again, when you look at it visually, it's not that much food. Generally, it's not. So it's not incredibly like filling, because again, I'm not the type of person that eats like fucking gourmet like 4 meals into one. I don't do that. I don't like to do that, okay? But this is my biggest meal of the day, and the total macros for this is going to be 53.5 grams of protein, 116 grams of carbs, and 23 grams of fat. And when you add all the calories together, it's about 909 calories. Again, biggest meal of the day. It doesn't look that much, and this is what I prefer for my breakfast. Now, again, if you're looking at this and you're like, you can switch some of these off. You can add more protein oats if you want, or you can add less, right? However, when you adjust your breakfast, you're gonna have to adjust the other ones I'm gonna show you too, okay? Or if you really want to, if you're trying to eat 24 to 2,500 calories, just copy exactly this if you just want something simple, okay? Now, for lunch, what I like to do is I eat cooked ground beef, okay? Why? It has a ton of fucking calories in it. So I measure my food cooked. You could do cooked or uncooked. I do about 5.5 ounces of cooked ground beef. Again, when you cook it and you measure 5.5 ounces, it is not as much as you think it is, like I said, okay? And that's gonna be about, and the brand that I use is 80% lean, 20% fat, because it has more calories in it. And that's gonna equal, I didn't even include the calories, but you're gonna do 5.5 grams of that. And it's generally, how many calories that beef is gonna be around like 430 to 450 calories, okay? And then I do cooked rice, and I measure that with 90 grams with my beef. And you can add whatever vegetables you want with this. I didn't include that here, but that's totally preference, all right? And then adding all of those together, this is gonna be 523 calories, 44 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, and 27.5 grams of fat, okay? So, again, that lunch is so simple. It's pretty small, but again, the calories is just, I prefer smaller meals throughout my day instead of bigger ones, okay? So, and in the dinner, I do cooked chicken breast, and I do 8 ounces of that, and I do cooked rice, 90 grams of that cooked, ranch, which is around 32 grams, and then adding all of that together is 433 calories, 69 grams of protein, 28 grams of carbs, and 5 grams of fat. Chicken breast is probably one of the best protein sources when it comes to building muscle. And overall, it's just so easy to get a lot of your protein in when you're eating chicken breast, okay? Now, lastly, this is what I have for my snack. I'm huge into having snacks. This is where I include kind of like junk food, just like your treats or whatever you want to call it. I have a rule that if 80% of your calories comes from nutritious foods, the last 20% can come from whatever the fuck you want, and it's generally, it won't make you unhealthy, okay? The way you classify someone as healthy or unhealthy is like the quality of their calories, majority of their calories, okay? So for my snack, I basically had a PB&J sandwich every single night, and I was happy. This fulfilled me, okay? So I would do 4 slices of whole wheat bread. I would do strawberry jelly, 40 grams. Peanut butter, I would do 32 grams of that. And adding that all together, that'd be 19 grams of protein, 68 grams of carbs, 20 grams of fat, 530 calories. When you add all of this together, I ended up with 2,400 calories, 185 grams of protein, 237 grams of carbs, and 75.5 grams of fat. If you're like 100 off of your goal, which is 2,500, that's fine. You should still see results when you're doing this. Now, this is what I ate every single fucking day that helped me gain around half a pound per week, okay? This might look like a lot of numbers to you, but let me tell you this. If you're not tracking your progress when it comes to fucking fitness, when it comes to anything, your food, business, I don't care what it is, and how can you know if you're actually doing it right? Okay? Now, I'm not telling you to be a perfectionist about all these numbers, but you need to have a general idea about how much food you're eating, how many calories you're eating, and how much protein you're eating a day. When you're tracking this and you just see it for yourself, it's so much fucking easier to actually gain the weight that you want, to know how much food you're eating, and to make sure you're actually building the amount of muscle that you want to. Because when I just ate everything that I saw, I got fat from it, okay? You don't want to be eating too much and you don't want to be eating too little. So you need to find that sweet spot for you, okay? Remember this. Buy a cheap food scale. It doesn't have to, it could be like 10, 15 bucks. Just buy a cheap food scale and try this, okay? I don't know if it sounds daunting to you to do this, but if you're really serious about you bulking up and building muscle fast, if I would have done this in the fucking beginning and making sure I was gaining around half a pound per week, then like I would be so much further along than I am now in terms of just my body, okay? So again, you can copy this exact. If you do that calculation I told you in the beginning of the video, and you have to eat around 24 to 2,500 calories, you can copy this exactly and you should be fine, okay? Or move some of these numbers around. Do you want to eat more for your snack? Do you want to add more to your breakfast? Do you want to add more to your fucking dinner? Do whatever works for you. The point is, these are the exact foods that helped me build like a lot of muscle and just gain the weight that I wanted, okay? So I hope this video was helpful. Again, just look at this, write it down, and then just try it for yourself. But if you have any questions when it comes to gaining weight or the types of foods to eat or overall just my plan in general, comment down below and I'll answer them for you. Just the key thing here is you don't have to eat as much as you think you do. You have to track your food, okay? I really recommend you just track your food. It'll make your life so much easier, and there's a sweet spot to gaining weight. And if you're doing this, right, and you're tracking and you're still not gaining the weight you want, add 150 calories to your thing, and you should be fine. You'll find that sweet spot eventually. Like I said, it's not gonna be 3,500, it's not gonna be 4,000 fucking calories, okay? That's a myth, don't do that. And if you actually were eating that much, you would probably get fatter from it, so just erase that from your brain. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, again, leave in the comments section, subscribe for more like this, and I'll see you in the next one.